Well, hello. Today is the 1985 fourth movie in the franchise, Rocky IV. A Soviet boxer, Ivan Drago, wants to challenge Rocky for the title. Apollo Creed has decided to take on the challenge to regain some of his lost glory. Apollo Creed challenges him to an exhibition fight. It takes place in Las Vegas amid a grand spectacle, including a song by James Brown. Apollo is killed in the ring by Drago. Rocky then challenges Drago and surrenders his championship to do so. Rocky, Paulie, and his trainer arrive in Russia to train. Here, Rocky trains with the KGB constantly watching him. Christmas Day arrives and Rocky will fight Drago in Moscow. The crowd jeers Rocky as Gorbachev and the Politburo look on. Rocky takes a beating but just won't give up. Drago can't defeat him and the crowd starts to side with Rocky. The final round sees Rocky victorious. So the first three Rockies were big successes financially. And so obviously they would want to make another one. And of course, Sylvester Stallone came back and wrote the script for it. So did Talia Shire, Burt Young, Carl Weathers, all reprised their roles. And they also had a new, and they decided, well, this time they would do something different, which made some sense. And this was the height of the Cold War, so they would make the villain that Rocky fights the Soviets. And they hired Dolph Lundgren. This is his first big acting break. A big Swede who was very tall and very muscular. Definitely, you can see that when he's fighting Rocky in the ring. And he also got Brigitte Nielsen, who was Sylvester Stallone's girlfriend and later wife. And she would be able to get cast and stuff as long as she was with Sylvester. And then once they broke up, her career kind of went away. And this was it was filmed in British Columbia. All the fight scenes and the training scenes that were supposed to be Siberia were done in Wyoming around the Grand Teton National Park. And this was what I have to say is a very successful movie. It had a 28 million budget, but made about 300 million. It's the highest grossing Rocky film of all time. It was the third highest in the US and second highest worldwide. And it was also the highest sports themed movie until The Blind Side came along. The film, of course, it did really great. Got a lot of Raspberry nominations and even wins for all the major categories. Don't really know why. Can't see 1985 that being that slow. And of course, it's very much a Cold War theme. The evil Russians. Yeah, Ivan Drago, this kind of cold Soviet killing machine almost. He shows absolutely no remorse for killing Apollo Creed, and they had Even had a guy playing Gorbachev, who was the Soviet premier at the time. The guy who played Gorbachev apparently also went on to do him in the Naked Gun movie because he looked so much like him. The Soviets didn't found this a very negative portrayal of their people, and I guess even now it's in Russia it's still considered very anti-Russian. But it's a fun movie. I think gotta give Sylvester Stallone credit. He really does a good writer, and he kept a pretty good solid script there. And they did something different. Got instead of just fighting the black guy, they actually got the Soviet Union as the enemy, and it was a big success. I think, though, obviously it's also showing some signs that maybe it was, the well was running dry for this franchise, but and they probably should have just, left it alone and just moved on. But when you're making so much money, yeah, got to keep trying to push it. So the studios did do another one, which didn't work out so well, and someday we'll get to that. So, if you stuck with me this long, I thank you. You're a unique individual.